Writer and
it
climber
used to be that in
Red
order to have,
Szell has been reporting to In Touch on his rather uneasy journey towards becoming a guide dog owner. Red's made no secret of the fact that he's not a doggy person. But after much thought and conversations with the Guide Dogs organisation, he decided to take the plunge. He's been telling me what happened.
Fairly early on, I was a bit wrong-footed by just how bouncy she was. I mean, clearly a very intelligent dog, but she was just into everything, wanted an awful lot of attention, and if we got to the front gate of the house, she was straining to head off to the park to go for a run rather than actually paying attention to the fact that I was wanting to turn left to go to the shops. So it was always a bit of a struggle to get her on message.
And was that something you weren't expecting? I mean, she is a guide dog after all, so the idea is that she is with you.
Never having grown up with dogs, I wasn't quite prepared for how strong the bond from her to me was in her eyes. When I talked to the Guide Dog Association, they did explain that they do select dogs who have a degree of neediness to an extent, because that means that they form the bond with their owner a lot better. But I think part of the problem is that I like friendship, and one of the good things about friendship is it tends to be on equal footing. I'm just not cut out to be anybody's god, and I think the fact that the dog did think that I was god, I just found a bit disturbing, to be honest.
I also gather that there were particular situations that she didn't like.
Yes, I take her to yoga, and though she was very good at demonstrating the downward dog position, she would howl all the way through, so I couldn't take her there anymore. And I go swimming in the men's pond on Hampstead Heath, and she would go and stand at the end of the jetty like the French lieutenant's woman and howl until I came back.
Now, I think you've said that the trainers did everything they could. Is there any more that could have been done in a way to prepare you for the experience?
The guide dog instructors actually couldn't have worked harder to keep the two of us together. They were brilliant, and a lot of what they did try did work. But I think the problem is I probably had a bit of an underlying trust issue with trusting my life to a dog, and I never really felt the love that I know she was craving, I suppose. It is a relationship, it's an arranged marriage, and I think either we just weren't the right pairing, or I have issues about being a dog owner that I will probably never overcome. So certainly I don't see any fault on either side. It's just I don't think we were the right couple.
What were you expecting?
I think, like a lot of people, I viewed guide dogs as being a cross between Lassie and Google Maps. But at the end of the day, she was an animal and she was fallible. And I think the problem is, as a blind person, when you do get led into a wheelie bin by a guide dog that's been distracted by a cat, your trust does suffer. And maybe my expectations were too high. Presence.
How did the family react?
We were all upset to see her go. She had occupied quite a place in the house for the previous 8.5 months, but actually all of us were quite relieved to see her go. She was rather like one of those large destructive toddlers who just rushes around and breaks everything, and she was always in everybody's face.
What's it been like going back to the cane?
Hard. I had got used to people getting out of my way. That's the one thing I really did appreciate about having a guide dog. There are two of you and people do just spring out of the way. Yes, it's been a bruising experience. Ella was always a very fast walker, and actually I always felt slightly nervous trying to keep up with her. And it's been really nice to walk slowly round the local streets again, and it's been nice to stop and have conversations with people. I had somebody come up to me last week and say, "Oh, I haven't spoken to you for 6 months," and I'm back in charge of my own life.